I'm a single mom of 2 kids, Elijah 15 and Ellen 14. Growing up, I moved a lot. Before I turned 15, I had moved 45 times. After I turned 15, I moved about 10 more, so 55 times in my life. The thing that I was the most hungry for growing up was community and friendships. When you move that much, you don't have time to develop friendships or community. On top of that, church was not a friendly place with the way we were raised. For many years, I visited churches, but I never felt connected. I moved here to Murfreesboro about 5 years ago, and we visited a church for about 2 years. There was no room for that intimate community that I think we all crave, whether we realize it or not. I would go to small groups, I would talk to people. Nobody called me. Nobody said, "Hey, where are you?" I even called a few people. Nobody said, "We miss you being here." I sort of gave up on trying to find a new place. About a year ago, I came to opening day, our first day of Seeds Church, and I liked it. The people were great. Everybody was very kind. The teaching was great. The music was great, but I did not want to be there. I really had an attitude about being there. I left there saying, I'm not going back. I'm not doing this again. I don't have the energy to do this again. I didn't feel like I had enough strength to be vulnerable again. But I showed up. I showed up the next Sunday and the next Sunday and the next Sunday. Over the last year, I've developed community with these people. I am part of their lives. They're part of my life. They know my children, and when they see something going on in my life, they call me and they say, "What do you need? What's going on with you? How can we be there for you?" And I am able to do the same thing. It's not just what my needs are, what my children's needs are. We have something of value to add to this community as well. As I'm surrounded by these people, they say, "Hey, we've done this before. You're going to be okay." Or they say to me, "Will you pray for me?" That's more valuable than I can even express. And I'm thankful that God has me in a place where I can experience that with my children, that they can have godly men in their life and godly women in their life to pattern what a community, a godly community is. These seeds that have been planted, we have started developing roots in this community that is going to grow into something beautiful and life-changing, and it'll be here for a long time. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for community. Not only for myself not having community when I was younger, my children, we've moved about 10 times in their lifetime. So being here, having a place for them to have friends, have a community, for me as a mom has been invaluable. I know Ellen, my children work in the kids ministry, and Ellen has blossomed. It's been so fun to see her come out and talk about talking to these kids and explaining Christ, the life of Christ, to these kids. She comes out and she's just brimming. She said, "Mom, I'm learning so much about my relationship as I'm teaching these little kids about God and singing and doing the games." And I see leadership skills being developed in her as she's telling these kids what to do and how to worship the Lord, and Bible stories. And then Elijah as the baby whisperer in the nursery. And how he's developing this father heart for children that he didn't even realize he had. And he's believing in himself, this father heart of God that he's developing and he's learning about. And the friendships that they have here, seeing them grow and have joy and a carefree spirit that they haven't had before because they have this community. I've enjoyed being in a community with the women at the church, being part of the women's Bible study, and allowing myself to be vulnerable with people because it's a safe place to be vulnerable. It's not just surface. It's not just, "Hi, how are you?" We're digging in deep of childhood wounds and relationships with our significant other and our children and our husbands and our wives. To have a safe place to do that in a community of women is a powerful thing. It's a life-changing thing. To have that, you feel like you can go out and face the world again. I was told when I was younger that I didn't have a voice. I didn't have any business praying the way I prayed. I sort of got thrown in with altar care. I said, no, I'm not ready for that. And she says, yeah, you're ready for that. And to be able to trust that leadership and not rely so much on my own timidity, to rely on that leadership and say, okay, because you said I'm ready for this, I'm going to trust you and I'm going to be ready for this. And that's the Lord in them speaking into my life. I was ready for it. It was awesome, not only for them, the people I prayed for, but for me, it was healing for me. A lot of times it's just choosing to show up. Even if you're late, I was 30 minutes late because of work, but I showed up. I would recommend anybody, I do all the time recommend people come to Seeds. And there are people here now because I said come to Seeds. And every time they've come, every single time they've said, this feels like home. This feels like where I belong. I think every single time I've shown up, God has pushed me out of that comfort zone and said, this is a safe place for you to be vulnerable. This is a safe place for you to not get it right, to be real with people, to learn how to use your gifts, to learn where to serve. We have to get out of that comfort zone and to be a part of a community.